Anambra, you're welcome to yet another interesting edition of Good Morning Anambra. My name is Chidimma Orangwa. This morning, as usual, we are going to start the show with the stories that are trending on our website and also the national dailies. And I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have my co-presenter seated right here with me in the studio. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Chidima, and good morning, India Anambra. It's always a pleasure to be here to serve you and give you updates on what's happening in Nigeria.
All right, we go on a short break. When we come back, we introduce our guest. Please stay with us.
For staying tuned on Good Morning Anambra. And quickly, before we go, let us first of all introduce our guest this morning, our analyst this morning. And we have here Sir Jerry Obodo, who is a public affairs analyst. Sir Jerry, good morning.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Chidima. Nigerians, India Anambra, please be with us as we roll together.
Yeah, as our tradition here, let us go quickly to tell you what we have for you on ABS website, topical stories that we have for you before we delve into the national dailies. The first story we have there is operatives of Anambra State Police Command nab robbers on Second Niger Bridge. And also we have fuel subsidy. Anambra State government cautions health workers against abuse of free antenatal care, free delivery. Soludo slashes fine by traffic offenders. Why I have not borrowed any kobo, that's coming from Mr. Governor himself, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo. Quickly, let us delve into the first story that we have here, Sir Jerry Obodo. Operatives of Anambra State Police Command nab robbers on Second Niger Bridge. What's your take on that?
Yeah, my take on that is a good development that they're on top of their game. If you notice, for some weeks, months now, we've enjoyed, relative tranquility. We don't record these kidnappings, shootings here and there. That shows that the security agencies are working together to make life secured for the citizens of the state and residents. One of such is this, the nabbing of these robbers at the Second Niger Bridge. You know, I commend the state government and the state governor. You know, some time ago I was here and I suggested that they should imbibe fighting the, these vices with technology. That's, you have to use your CCTV cameras, equip the security agencies with state-of-the-art gadgets. With that, they will be able to confront whatever the other opposition will come up with. And you can see that the success is playing out now. So I commend the governor for investing in that direction.
Yeah, thank you so much. Quickly, on fuel subsidy, Anambra State government cautions health workers against abuse of free antenatal care and free delivery. You understand? Since it's free and the delivery is free, the government here is saying that their caution is so that health workers don't abuse this privilege.
Yeah, is a good a warning signal to those
Health workers.
Health workers and the caregivers. The government meant well for the citizens, especially the mothers. You know, I don't like using the word palliative because we are not on a terminal illness. Palliatives are given to those who are terminal ill, that, you know, they are bound to die. But, you know, as a palliative measure, you condition them, you know, they won't feel, you know, much pain until they are there. Now, the word I would like to use is cushioning effect. AJ, I like to use cushioning effect.
Okay.
And I advise our people to use that, not to use palliative. This is what the state government is doing. This is what the governor is doing, Professor Soludo, CFR. He has seen these times are very, very hard on the people. And as a way of cushioning effect, he has introduced free antenatal and delivery. That means
at state-owned health facilities.
Yeah, you know. So the mothers will approach the state-owned hospitals for such, benefits, and is warning the medical caregivers, health workers, to adhere strictly to the terms of engagement. That means don't charge them any money. But Nigerians, don't be surprised that they will abuse it.
They will abuse it, or you might need to buy a razor or buy one or two things that will
But I urge the government and the governor to set in motion a monitoring unit or team that oversees what is playing out, so that abuse will be nipped in the bud. Thank you.
Yesterday the governor was here at ABS talking to Anambarians in the Anambra on his stewardship so far. And a part of that discussion, what came out of it was him slashing, you understand, the fine by traffic offenders, ATMA in particular, because people called in and they were complaining that ATMA were really extorting from Anambarians, you understand, in the Anambra, exorbitant amounts for traffic offenses. And now the governor now said that he's slashing the fine down to 5,000 naira for, as in the highest fine, you understand, a motorist should pay for any offense. What's your take on that? Is that a welcome relief to road users, or is it more like going to make it seem as if...
Just for a moment, they marked all the roads, so that you know where you are supposed to park and where you're not supposed to park. So it's just for a moment. It's not something that is going to be permanent.
Do we have a
thank you very much. Why I'm laughing is that the governor is very magnanimous. I can't imagine myself driving on a one-way. I can't imagine myself, not observing
road signs,
the traffic light. So if I am charged, one of my friend was charged 50,000 naira. I had the governor mention it yesterday. So I said, well, good for you. Why do you disobey the traffic, regulation? So our people, I think they require it the hard way.
In order to get the message sent.
So I thank the governor for it, also part of the cushioning effect, but let them enjoy it for a moment, like Chidinma said.
Until the road signs are there, and then the markings are there on the road.
Obey the rules of the game.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And just to let you know that you can call in if you have any view that you want to share with us this morning. Just call the number displayed in front of your television set this morning. Quickly, let's start with the first paper under review, and that's the Daily Sun newspaper this morning. The banner headline says, as tribunal fixes judgment date, DSS raises a security alarm. And we have riders there proceeding to be broadcast live tomorrow. only rerun can rectify INEC's errors, but a judge. We expect justice in line with the law, says PDP and Labour Party. We've uncovered plots to mobilize youths for violent protests, says intelligence agency. Labour shuns federal government talks, insists on strike. And then we can see down there, Nigeria generated 1.49 trillion naira from that in 6 months. Revenue up by 25% from first quarter of 2022. This is coming from MBS. 15 killed, 6 injured in auto crash, flood in Kogi, in Kebbi. Sanwo-Olu submits fresh commissioner nominees. Tribunals affirm Oshimole election. OT's convoy in auto crash. Governor suspends driver. Okay, these are what we have on the front page of the Daily Sun newspaper. Quickly, let's look at the big story. As we are waiting for the final result tomorrow, DSS, they have raised alarm once again that there are people that have planned to come out for protest. We have a lot of riders there. We'll start with the one saying that the proceeding will be broadcast live tomorrow, even though the whole process wasn't live, but whatever is going to happen tomorrow will be broadcast live, and then only rerun can rectify INEC's error. This is coming from Body Judge, so let's start from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's very, very pregnant, and no one knows what it will deliver. But we only can hope and trust that a sense of good reasoning and judgment will prevail amongst the judges, so that, and even the Holy Spirit will overshadow them, so that whatever they come up with will be acceptable to both parties. There's a way an umpire gives a ruling or a judgment. Both sides of the coin, we say, well, we have seen that they are neutral in what they come up with. So we hope they will be neutral in the judgment they will come up with. DSS raising this, okay, let them raise. I think from what information I have, it's not going to admit everybody. They have to. They say they are going to do accreditation. Let them do it. Those that will go in, the selected few from the parties, all the parties, and the lawyers. Let them go in. Since they've woken up from their slumber to televise it, okay, let them televise. Whatever, but we just want a very credible, free, undiluted judgment that everyone will say, these guys have done, what they are supposed to do, from the evidences, tendered before them. But the judge saying a rerun will be fine.
The only panacea to whatever that happened in the previous
that's his
election.
own opinion. Opinions are canvassed by various people, but onus lies on the judges to be neutral and free and fair to all the parties concerned.
Okay. Also see the story of Labour insisting that they are going on strike. Despite the federal talks with federal government, they actually shunned the talk, because yesterday we saw on the papers that they were supposed to hold talks yesterday, meet and know how to resolve the issue. But it seems they didn't attend the meeting. Now they are insisting on strike action.
Like many people are saying that the Labour, what they are coming up with, it's not popular anymore with the populace, because, in fact, if they know their onions, if it was in the days past when the labor was labor, that very moment, the president came up to say that fuel subsidy is gone. Is the time they would have brought down the government to their knees and forced them to go back. In fact, it was a very serious blunder on the government. What he should have done is to do incremental, thing, rather than coming up with the fuel subsidies. And that's triggered the whole thing. And they are not sincere even to negotiate to the labor. How many times will you be beaten and you become shy? Each time you approach them for a negotiation, it's terminated. It comes out with nothing. So the populace takes them no serious anymore. In fact, this is very, very unpopular. If you go to the city, you see people moving about. See workers going their ways. See, if it is popular, people will join them, stay at home, do nothing. But this time, they are not. It's very, very unpopular. So, and it even aggravates the suffering of the people. Staying at home, you are not going to. What do we eat? You are not working. Many of them are daily paid workers and other. How do they feed themselves and the family? So it's not popular. Let us allow the government to continue. Let us continue suffering and smiling like fella and wait for the judgment and see how it goes.
Well, thank you for your submission there. And quickly, let's go to the next paper we have for review this morning. The next paper is the Daily Independent, and the banner headline there is staring at us. Subsidy removal. Labour insists on warning strike. FG appeals for patience. And the writer there says, action would worsen plight of Nigerians. Federal Workers Forum to shut down secretariats. And TUC wants workers awarded salaries as palliatives. Solid minerals industry records 551.89% increase, says sector earnings grew to 193 billion, 193.59 billion, up from 116.81 billion. That's coming from Naiti. Owando buys 100% Ajib assets in Nigeria. Putin says free grain exports to Africa to begin in weeks. You can find that on page 6 of the Daily Independent. Sanwo-Olu sends fresh cabinet nominees list, including Omotosho, 10 others. Tension as Atiku, Obi, Tinubu no fate tomorrow. And the writer says, presidential election petition court to televise judgment live. And then we have 100 days, Tinubu performed badly in economy. That's coming from Bode Judge. Tells the tribunal not to announce winner, but calls for fresh election. DSS alights on plots to stage violent protests in the country. Wow. Reports group says alarm shows presidential election tribunal judgment as leaked. Wow. that last caption was really, really funny. But then, what's your take on that? Talking about the tribunal election, and then Bode Judge coming to say Tinubu performed badly in economy. What's your take on that, Sir Jerry?
Oh, well, he's an elder statesman, and is his opinion, and everybody who is in the country knows that what he's saying is not out of place. The naira to dollar, you know what it is.
But prior to this administration coming in, we knew what we went through in the 8 years of the last administration.
Yes.
You understand? So this could be, will I say, the carryover effect of mismanagement of the economy over over years.
Yeah, of course.
100
but,
years,
when
100
you
days
come
in office isn't enough to, to see how someone is performing. If you ask me, anyway, that's my own opinion.
Yeah, that's your opinion. But also, 100 days it can make some positive effect on the lives of the people you are governing. Like I said,
Yeah.
a good leader will not like to continue inflicting pains, hardship on the people from the day he comes in. If you go through the Bible, Jeremiah, when he was called up by God to see the people of Israel, he knows they suffered in Egypt. Coming out, there's some problems there, but he started, giving them hope. Telling them how God were magnanimous to them to bring them out of Egypt, and telling them there's a future for them. That's a good leader. But you cannot just come in, on the day you come in, people will start suffering. Like I said, we, as analysts, we are on the opinion of the removal of the subsidy because it's a scam. Few people are, pocketing the money. But it shouldn't be a one-off thing. Like I said, it should have been an incremental thing. You remove small, plug back the money, not giving to some people. Like you know that like it was mentioned in the paper here. Not dashing people money, and it goes back to the pocket of some individual. You can cushion the effect by so many workers are stagnant on the salary for upwards of 10 years or more. You can use the windfall of the subsidy to cushion the effect by increasing their salaries. You can use it to build housing estate for them, and buying making the transportation lower by supplying some buses from the local government. In 100 days, you can do that.
Okay.
Soludo came in, went straight to Okpoko, a slum. Before 100 days, if you go there, you see so many roads. They are happy with him. So you can create a positive.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
And what do you have to say about the rights group who says they believe that the judgment of the Presidential Election Tribunal has leaked?
Group said so.
Yeah. The rights group says alarm shows Presidential Election Petition Tribunal judgment has leaked. That's the DSS alert on plot to stage violent protest in the country. That's what the writer there is saying.
Okay.
Is it possible?
In Nigeria, really, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yes.
For a judgment of this magnitude that could make or mar a country, and then people are saying or alleging that the judgment has leaked.
Like I said, anything can happen. But they are entitled to their opinion. If you believe that, you can believe everything.
Everything.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's just wait and see.
All right, let's take Nigerian Tribune and Vanguard together. Let's start with the Tribune this morning. The banner headline there says, banks, aviation, other unions to join strike. And then we have riders, TUC opts out of strike. NLC shuns parley with the federal government. Federal government meets TUC, gives 2 weeks deadline for wage award. Civil service payroll bill scares me. This is coming from Tinubu. How Gbajabiamila became Tinubu's chief of staff. Source. Ekiti Airport, PCC takes up farmers' agitation over unpaid 429 million naira compensation. 800 passengers on board as Sanwo-Olu inaugurates commercial operations of Lagos Blue Rail. Politicians are plotting to stage violent protests nationwide. This is coming from DSS. Nigeria's economy was put in a mess under Buhari, Sanusi Lamido. Nominations open for 2023 Obafemi Awolowo Leadership Prize. And then we can still see the live telecast as court decides Tinubu, Atiku, and Obi's fate tomorrow. Entry into courtroom strictly on accreditations. Over now to Vanguard newspaper. We are still seeing NLC shunning meeting with federal government, starts today warning strike, and then accuses Lalong of industrial dictatorship, blackmail. Strike will worsen plight of Nigeria. Federal government says we waited on NLC for negotiation, all to no avail. Adds no formal communication from Labour on strike. Baptist Convention warns NLC against hijack by hoodlums. Asks federal government to hasten palliatives. Rethink your stance on warning strike. 100 years olds tell Labour. And then Bola Tinubu, a president in need of help. Okay, that's an editorial. And then now there, Obasanjo Sanusi blasts Buhari over reckless spending. Why Tinubu appointed Baja as chief of staff. Okay, these are many more what we have on the front pages of Nigerian Tribune this morning and the Vanguard newspaper. Okay. It's still all about talking about strike. And banks and aviation, other unions, they are planning to join the strike action, where a lot of people are saying that we can, what we saw in front page of Vanguard, 100 CEOs was telling NLC that this is not the right time for them to embark on strike because people are going to suffer even more.
Yeah, just like I said earlier, it's very, very unpopular now for this strike. And to worsen the situation, you know that TUC opted out of the strike. TUC is a very serious component of NLC, matters of labor and the negotiation. So you can see that it's very disjointed with the pulling out of TUC, 100 CSOs not in support. It's not popular anymore, So what they need to do is to continue to, hammer on to the government of the day to start implementing the cushioning effects.
But then, if you don't go on strike, how then do you get the attention of the government? The schools,
Yeah.
secondary and primary schools are already on holidays. They are on holidays now. The tertiary, they are in session, some of them. Then if you don't go on the strike now, when do you think is ideal? And then how does government take you serious if you don't go on the strike? Is it the timing, or is it that we shouldn't even bother going at all? Since you're talking about when you go on strike, how do Nigerians that earn daily sustain their families?
I have said that...
Another question would be, why will the LNC shun the meeting they had with the federal government? Because according to what we read out in the front page of Tribune, they were saying that, yes, they wanted to have, see if they can reach to an agreement, actually, to see if they can halt it. But Labour didn't attend that meeting.
That's part of the problem. But like I said, they have made a serious mistake by not going on strike at the ab initio. So what I think my advice to them is to continue to negotiate with the government, pressure them to start implementing the cushioning effects. That's the way to go now. Strike will worsen the situation. Like I said, somebody who is down is down. The people will ultimately suffer.
So now what's your suggestion? Like, what's the best way forward right now?
The best way forward is to pressure the government to start implementing the cushioning effects. They've said they are going to, we have condemned the attitude of dashing out 8,000 because ultimately it will go to the wrong hands. They don't have the statistics. They should now, from the subsidy windfall, share the money to states. Let them increase the salaries of the workers. They have dependents. They have wives, they have children, they have mothers, they have every other thing. Once they get the money, it has a spiral effect. They goes to the market, the traders, gets benefit of the thing. Now, acquire the buses, not staying in Abuja and saying that I will buy buses. Let them do it immediately, send it to the local government, states, and instruct on the fares to pay. In that way, the commuters will start having the cushioning effect. So these are the measures they had to take and ameliorate the suffering of the people. The strike is not the answer for now.
Hello?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please tell us your name and your location.
So my name is Alexander Memorial, and I'm calling from Upper South, Elegy, London.
All right, you're welcome, Alexander. So go ahead with your contribution.
So what I want to issue is that we shouldn't actually, I want to call and actually opposed by the speaker. We shouldn't actually say only the workers, because when you do this, what about the other cities that are not working? Like, for example, what about traders that aren't working and are not civil servants? Please, let's try to issue something that will cover the whole cities, because even if we are workers or not, we are still citizens of Nigeria, and we hope to make Nigeria better.
All right, thank you so much, Alexander. But what is your suggestion to cut across everyone? Tell us your suggestion, what you think should be done so that everyone will benefit.
But my suggestion is that the labor should go on strike. I support this strike.
Okay.
Let them go on strike. Let us show the government that we, the masses of Nigeria, just because of we are taking it small, doesn't mean that we are stupid. Our parents trained us to school. We went to school. We are not fools. So let's go on strike. Let's issue them a paper to go normal so that they'll know that people are still alive in this country. We are not under domain leadership. We're under this is democracy.
All right, thank you so much, Alexander.
Suffering is too much. Everyone is suffering. The later I look at fall, they look to see everything is going hard. If you want to go to if you cook one pot of soup, you have to have something like 5,000 to 10,000 naira. So I support ongoing strike. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Alexandra, for your contribution. Quickly, let's go to the next papers.
Let's go, and we're taking two papers. That's the This Day and the Punch. And quickly, let's go to This Day. And the banner headline there is talking Sanusi, how Buhari mismanaged Nigeria's economy in 8 years. And the writer there says, inexperienced rookie bought private jet under ex-president. And tribunal delivers judgment in Atiku Obi's petition against Tinubu tomorrow. 2023 budget, federal government posts 4.6 trillion half-year revenue. Owando set to take over Egypt's oil, gas, power assets in Nigeria. And the writer there says, deal awaits regulatory approval. Any to focus on offshore businesses in Nigeria. Subsidy, NLC shuns federal government peace talks, insist on strike. And quickly, let's go to the Punch newspaper. And the banner headline there is saying, presidential polls petition, military police warn protesters as tribunal delivers verdict tomorrow. Military police vow to prevent violence, tribunal proceedings for live broadcast. And the rider says, court orders workers to stay away. PDP, LP confident, APC promise to obey ruling. Subsidy pains, labor vows to ground economy, begins strike. And the rider there says, the maritime, bank workers, CSOs, plan rally, FG begs NLC to shelve strike. Reps summon 6 MDAs over federal government asset sale. 40 years after Buhari's suspension, Lagos Light Rail begins operation. Foreign investors repatriated $5 billion dividends. That's coming from CBN. 4 suspects arrested for torturing trainee internet fraudsters. Over 1,000 lawmakers, appointees get diplomatic passports. That's all that we have on this papers. Quickly, let's see the Punch. There's this one that catches my interest. The rider for the banner headline, they're saying court orders workers to stay away. PDP LP confident. APC promises to obey ruling. Wow. I smell a rat there. What's your take?
Yeah, well, you cannot, preempt or predict, make a comment on that will be prejudiced. So, every party has every right to, be hopeful. That's the word. You have to be hopeful and prayerful that it comes out your way, But for now, nobody can say this is the judgment until it is delivered. And remember, there is still another step to go. You still have to go to Supreme Court, and that's the end of the game. So the parties should be hopeful and prayerful. Let's see how it turns out tomorrow.
All right, because of want of time, let's take the rest of the papers we have, and then we just pick out 1 or 2 that we are going to talk on. Let's start with the Nation newspaper. Federal government TUC strike over subsidy payments not needed now. We've talked about that earlier. And then we have tolling of federal highway to go on, says Omahi. Oando acquires NAOC's upstream oil assets. Sanwo-Olu drops 5 in new nominees list to Assembly. More insight into Tinubu's 100 days in office. And then Oyetola demands a report on dilapidated port facilities. Next paper is the Guardian newspaper. Bold reforms leave Nigerians more miserable amid assurances. That you can see on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Tinubu's burden of resetting Nigeria in 100 days. We can see a whole lot there. We have fuel subsidy removal, foreign exchange, appointment of chief officer, EFCC removal. In fact, we have a whole lot there. Then Gabon coup leader General Nguema sworn in as interim president. Apprehension as Labour begins warning strike. And then Tinubu not to blame. Buhari plunged economy into crisis. It coming from Sanusi. Uando acquires Ajib's Nigeria oil assets. Policemen nab colleagues for abduction and extortion in Rivers. Daily Trust newspaper.
Quickly, the parties, the banner headline is saying, parties optimistic as tribunal rules on Atiku Obi's petition tomorrow. Judgment will affirm Tinubu's mandate. That's coming from the APC. We expect justice, nothing else. PDP candidate. We are confident of winning. LP. Ballots, not judiciary, will make pronouncements That's coming from CODE. Subsidy removal, NLC shuns FG begins strike today. And then the rider, they say, we also have other stories there. The true story about my choice of Yaradua, that's coming from ex-president Obasanjo. Bond kicks as Rivers shots AIT and Ray Power. Palliatives, Kano distributes 457,000 bags of rice, maize to citizens. 30 trillion borrowed from CBN. Inexperienced boy bought jet under Buhari. That's coming from Sanusi. Pension, 72,000 workers not properly captured by PENCOM. I get frightened each time I receive workers' payroll. That's coming from the President, Tinubu. And then quickly, the Daily Times, federal government begs NLC strike
We've seen
will
that.
hold. And then 32 kidnappers, suspected armed robbers, armed bandits nabbed by Adamawa. Wike frowned at 85 billion agreement for Wassa housing project. Ex-militants threatened Tompolo, asked federal government to split contracts. February 25 poll, tomorrow is judgment day for Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, OJ. Okay. Nigerians wait with bated breath. Okay. And then last, that's the much that we have.
Okay, let's start with that story talking about the president saying that he gets frightened any time he sees the payroll of workers.
Well, why should it be? Why should that happen?
That's the question.
You know,
doesn't mean he doesn't know the strength, the number of people working in civil service all over the country.
That means he hasn't done a homework, because you know a governor or the president who knows his union first of all will do auditing of the workers he has in his payroll, and sometimes some ghost workers are discovered through that auditing. I don't think he has done that. So that's marks of not good manager. Then, having said that, again, there's no justification for what he's saying, because can you imagine the gargantuan money that the National Assembly takes? Doesn't that worry him? They allocate humongous amount of money to themselves. What are they doing in the National Assembly?
While you're still, trying to run through that, part of the caption on the The Guardian, is bloated cabinet. That's talking 100 days in office.
It's part of the game.
So is the bloated cabinet part of the money that he sees that makes him shudder?
Is it not him that bloated it? I've said in one of my outings that if I am him, it's not time to be extravagant. This is not the time for it. What I can do is to, because of the constitutional provision, I will have a minister from each state. Otherwise, I should have gone with less. But, to save cost of governance, I will have a minister from each state. That gives me 36. Then I'll now have one from FCT, to equate the situation. And I go for it. That has got a lot of money for me. This time is not for extravagance. He has caused that by bloating it to 48. Doesn't the humongous money of the political the appointees worry him or makes him afraid? Is it only the poor civil servants own that will worry him? So I don't get it.
Okay, I mean, almost all the papers that we read out this morning, this particular statement from Sanusi kept popping up, saying that Tinubu is not to be blamed for whatever we are facing right now. And some people are saying 100 days in office, we are not seeing any visible difference. Yet you promised us that once you get inaugurated, you're going to get the ground.
hit the
You see,
ground running.
yes. And now again, they are now blaming the previous administration, the president, Buhari, for plunging the economy of this nation, as in making it or allowing it to be where it is today. When are we going to stop this blame game in this country?
Well, it's very unfortunate that the blame game is still there. If you know that the heat of the kitchen is too much for you, you don't come in there. You shouldn't venture into that political office if you know you can't take the heat. So I don't support the blame game. Face the matter squarely. Like I said, 100 days is not too much enough, but it's enough to know, because the first impression matters. Like I gave an example of Governor Soludo. He went straight to the slum, Opoko, awarded 9 roads, they are completed. He's doing the Sagamori and all that within less than 100 days. The president of the country came in the first time, created more hardship to the people. How can he be blaming the other regime? Now, what he will be doing now is, how can I get the 3 refineries working optimally so that I can save the people the cost of bringing refined fuel from outside to Nigeria, charging dollar to naira.
Thank you. We are run out of let's say time, so let's say we call it a day. Thank you so much, Sir Jerry Obodo, for your time today to come and review these papers with us today, and we're definitely going to be seeing you on the other side of Good Morning Anambra. And let's wrap it up now. Amajiluchuku Okabwe and Chidimon.
Thank you for being with us on Press Review. We'll see you at the other side. Stay with us.